Okay, we're gonna see if this works.
Yes, it's the title slide. Full
Yeah.
screen.
Okay, there we go. And guys, I think you all know Deshaun Groves recently departed the agency. He was our MCAC liaison. He's taking on a new position in the great state of Vermont. So we're dealing with some little challenges as we adjust
does. But the milestones associated with this one include establishing an annual payment analysis process to ensure that the rates are sufficient, to look at workforce issues within the doula community. So setting that up and then doing it on an annual basis. And so you would have to do that. You would also have to stand up an independent advisory committee that made up of doula advisors. And so there are a number of activities under each of these 10 required elements, 3 to 5, that really require a few years of planning to get ourselves prepared for what would be an alternative payment model. Based on time, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I know the slides will be available for folks afterwards. Next slide, we talk about the optional elements. So I talked about those 10 required elements to start. If we want to use that $17 million of funding to address any additional optional elements on this slide, we have to include them in our application. And I think there are a number of items here that are near and dear to many of us. And so, our approach right now is likely that we will include all of these or most of these in our application to give us the flexibility to, as a community, work through meeting some of these milestones. I will flag, don't know what the milestones are for the optional elements. CMS will let us know within the first year of the program. So that's where this differs a bit from the required elements. Next slide. And so that really is the care delivery side of the house. On the payment side, there really are 3 different segments of payment approaches between years 3 and 5. The first one is what CMS is referring to as provider infrastructure payments in year 3. And so these funds will be made available to providers to support infrastructure related needs. And this can be related to patient safety, activities related to patient safety, to quality measure reporting, to data integration, to team-based care, access to care, or connections to community-based organizations to address health-related social needs. We don't know a ton beyond that. And so, we're going to come in with our application and try to make this as broadly applicable as possible so that we can really use those planning years to help determine how best to use these funds. I will flag the information that we do have from CMS is that the infrastructure payments will largely be tied to some level of an attribution model based on when individuals initiate prenatal care. And so that gives a little bit of a sense on how CMS is looking at this as infrastructure to support those that are delivering care during the prenatal period. In year 4, there's an opportunity to implement pay for performance program. This would be upside only payments based on quality and cost performance that align with model goals that would allow providers to receive an upside only bonus payment based on their performance. I do want to flag that those payments would not come from that TEMA $17 million pot. Those would have to come from DHCF. And then the last item here is on the move to an alternative payment model. I mentioned before this would be a CMMI designed value-based APM. We again don't know what that is yet, but based on the trajectory, we have to assume that much of the care delivery infrastructure will be reflected in some capacity in that model. And the important thing I wanted to flag here is for managed care state DC, the managed care plans are required to participate in that APM. So I think I have just one more slide, and this is just to highlight how the money is available, what money is available year to year if we were able to get that full $17 million. We were hoping that some of these dollars would be front loaded so that we would have a little bit more flexibility to invest in infrastructure early on in that pre-implementation period. But CMS has staggered this in a way that really allows the funding to peak in that third year when those infrastructure payments are available. And then it starts to fade away by year 10 so that we can move towards a more sustainable approach and not be reliant on the TEMA funds. So that's the model. We're heavily busy writing and trying to pull this together in the next couple of weeks. But again, I think we are very well suited for it. We've had conversations with many of you about welcome additional conversations, and I'm going to put my email into the chat. If anyone wants to reach out, we're happy to have additional conversations, but otherwise I will pause here for questions.
Any questions? I don't see any questions in the chat or hands raised.
That is it for our update today. It's a short one for this month.
All right. Moving into the subcommittee. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, Shiama was just asking, what would be the DHCF contribution for the portion not covered by the grant? I think really it's our typical provider payment, but Joe.
Yeah, so that $17 million is 100% federal. So there's no match for us on anything that we use that $17 million for. But as Melissa was saying, once we get into Medicaid reimbursement, those are DHCF dollars and contributions. So those would follow the normal match, the 70-30 match there. And so that P for P component that I talked about in year 4, that is a provider payment that would follow there. And that APM, that also would be a provider payment. It's really around the support for planning, building infrastructure that the $17 million can be used for.
And I do think, once the payment methodology, there's detail from CMMI on that, then it becomes what is the change to what we are budgeting already for those services. Presumably, nothing usually decreases. I expect it'd probably be some kind of an increase or something. And then that's something we'd have to factor in through our budget formulation process. Thanks for your question, Shioma. Thanks, Justin.
Not a problem. Moving into subcommittee reports. Is there a report for the Access Subcommittee?
There is, as long as my mic and video is working. Good evening, everybody. Access Subcommittee, the big update is that we have our next meeting on September 4th at 9:30 a.m. Our topic will be a conversation, it will be an open forum, around home health agencies and issues related to that. We will also recap our last meeting from June, where we talked about dental benefits and had a nice little roundtable about that. So I would encourage everybody to join us. If you're not on the list to get the information, please let us know. And thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And Jordan, I believe you are giving the health systems redesign report.
It looks like she is off mute, but I'm not hearing anything. Are you, Justin?
Yeah, I am not.
Okay, we might be having a little technical difficulties there. Jordan, if you have an update, if you can put it in the chat, if you can hear us, that would be great.
It looks like her mic may not be connected, so she may hear us, but she's there.
Yeah, I think we might be able to expect that through the chat function then. Thanks, Jordan.
No. All right, we are motoring right along. Are there any public announcements from members? And I know that we are going to go into executive session, so are there any comments or questions for the members of the public? All right, our next meeting will be October 23rd. And Melissa, do we need a motion to go into executive session?
I think we probably do.
Is there a motion? Does a member of MCAC move to go into executive? All right, so moved by Robert. Is there a second?
Second, Barbara Bazron.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bazron. Everyone all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
All right, at this time, we'll ask that all non-MCAC members disconnect from the meeting and all MCAC members to stay on. Thank you all for joining.